sisters unite. It's the time of your lives. It's the time of your lives. Break down, break down. Gotta keep him all down. Gotta spread it around. Brothers and sisters unite. It's the time of your lives. It's the time of your lives. Break down, break down. Gotta keep moving around. Gotta keep him all down. And stay down. And sometimes I feel, stay around. And sometimes I feel that it's me they're looking for, and it's me I will never say I'll be around so Brothers and sisters unite for the time of your lives, for the time of your lives. Don't break down, just keep moving around. Gotta spread it all out and stay down. 'Cause sometimes I feel, and stay down. Love, sometimes I feel that it's me they're looking for, and it's me I will never say I'll be around so Brothers and sisters unite. It's the time of your lives. It's the time of your lives. Break down, break down. Gotta spread love around. Gotta spread it around. Brothers and sisters feel fine. It's the time time of your lives. There's no sound like this feeling you found, like this feeling you found. But just stay down. time of your lives. Break down, gotta spread love around, gotta spread it all. But just stay down, 'cause sometimes I feel
Okay, the live music starts here at the Royal Court with a band we have huge hopes for, much championed on the evening session. Please welcome to Sound City 99, Coldplay!
Oh, brothers and sisters. The time of your lives. There's no sound, Thank you very much. Right, this is our we're called Coldplay, by the way. We've been told to say that in case no one knows. So we've said it now. This is our on our EP, which is in the shops. It's good. Brothers and sisters unite. It's the time of your lives. It's the time of your lives. Break down, break down. Gotta spread love around. Gotta spread it all around. Brothers and sisters, feel fine. It's the time of your lives. It's the time of your lives. There's no sound, no sound like this feeling you found. Like this feeling you found. But just stay down. Sometimes you're blue. Stay around. Sometimes you're blue. But it's me they're looking for. And it's me I will never survive, but we'll be around so long. Brothers and sisters unite. It's the time of your lives. It's the time of your lives. Break down, break down. Gotta spread love around. Gotta spread it all around. But just stay down. Sometimes you're blue. And stay around. Loud. And sometimes you're blue. brothers and sisters unite. It's the time of your lives. It's the time of your lives.
The first time I walked out on Coldplay was April the 1st, 1999. Out of the Bull and Gate, Kentish Town. This was the launch night for the Brothers and Sisters single, and the evening had started extremely well. There was a queue right along the venue corridor, out through the front doors, and down past the kebab shop towards Kentish Town tube station. Late-coming A&R people were pleading to be sneaked in, but there was simply no room in the Indie Inn. We had a packed back room, the Bull and Gate at its very best, the Bull and Great. Halfway through their rendition of Shiver, I walked out. Well, I actually squeezed my way out through the throng, muttering apologies for any spilt drinks and split loyalties. But either way, I turned my back on that bright-eared back room because my wee indie heart was about to burst out of my feeble chest because I was feeling so excited because I was having too much fun. So I went to the bar and sat on my own, the lonesome panda buzzing bashfully like a forgotten robot at the bottom of the toy box. This heady Bull and Gate headline was the culmination of 6 months' worth of work, a tiny pimple on the rear end of Coldplay's overarching career, but a pretty significant half year in the panda's slightly less glamorous history. There lurked a new cabal of immensely capable bands who'd been building up at a slower pace, primarily because they'd been sitting in their bedrooms working out just how the Ballyheckington Johnny Greenwood got those sounds on OK Computer, or just sliding away to listen to something other than slide away. And so it was in this precocious space, 1999, that Doves, Elbow, Coldplay and Muse all really made their mark on the public consciousness. The first time I saw Coldplay was at the Falcon, Camden, in October 1998. Our mutual lawyer, Gavin Maud at Russell's, had suggested I tootle along in an informal, oh you never know and only if you're in the area kind of way. In the area? I spent so much time at the Falcon back then, I was on first name terms with the lavatory or fungus. Gavin had been tipped off about the band by Caroline Ellery from BMG, who was looking to sign them for publishing. In turn, Caroline had been tipped off by her A&R friend, Debs Wild, who is now marked down in the annals of melodic history as the original industry person who first took notice of the Coldplay sound and actually told them that sounded genuinely great. In fact, I suspect Gavin was a bit baffled as to why they weren't already signed. They played the A&R Showbiz Pickup Fest in the city in Manchester a few weeks earlier after all. I think he'd reached the end of his tether, or at least reached the end of his list of sensible, prospective labels. For Gavin, who also had Idlewild on his books, Coldplay certainly weren't an obvious indie punkish fit for his Fierce Panda client. They were gauche, geeky, nerdy. The singer wore a tank top and had a mop pop of hair. He sounded posh, cracked cringy jokes, played an acoustic guitar. Nobody outside of the Wurzels wore tank tops, cranked jokes, and played acoustic guitar in 1998. Leastways not all at the same time, or outside of a Travis soundcheck in the West Country. If those weren't sufficient crimes against industry humanity, on the surface, the youthful Coldplay sound was fundamentally a fruity combination of Jeff Buckley's swirling grace and Radiohead height intelligence. Cribbing from the udders of one sacred musical cow was one thing, but to do it twice was downright gold-topped sacrilege. Then again, there was not much industry to be seen that night in a Falcon that was overflowing with good vibes and a lot of happy faces I didn't know. Got some fans there, I said to the beaming singer afterwards. Oh, they're not fans, said the singer with a shrug, beaming. They're just mates from uni. Well, mates from uni don't often sing along to all the songs, said I, thinking I'd forgotten something really quite important. Oh yeah, by the way, would you let's do a single on Fierce Panda? Word from the corridors of University College London was that singer Chris Martin was an utter pain in the arse. Forever going on about his bloody sodding band, giving out bloody flyers, working the sodding students. Then those same students would go and see the Coldplay band play live and go, wow, they really are good. And those songs really were great. Light of touch, charming of manner, chipper of melody. Bigger, stronger, and Shiver stood out most of all. And there was more to the music than any angsty Buckley York axis. There was an understatedness to the guitars, a cracked passion to the vocals, a strange edge to the ebb and flow of the songs that had their peaks and troughs, but had those peaks and troughs in odd places, like the band still hadn't found quite what they were looking for, but were having intensely excellent fun searching for it. This was the start of a beautiful relationship between band and label that would last forever and forever, or for half a year at least. Their location was perfect. Coldplay lived down Camden Road, a 15-minute stroll away from the Holloway family home, in a proper student house. I should know. I visited the toilet. They were, therefore, within staggering distance of every half-decent venue back when most bands would play half a dozen times on the toilet circuit. At the Bull and Gate, the Dublin Castle, the Falcon, the Laurel Tree, and the Monarch. So each promoter would have a chance of putting them on, and each band would have the opportunity to nurture their sound and build a crowd. Their timing was perfect at radio as well. I predictably enthused about my Falcon experience to Steve Lamacq, who returned to the same venue in December to check them out, and found himself picking his jaw up off the floor after half a set. With the evening session still in full effect, they gave Coldplay a Radio 1 Maida Vale session, the first for an unsigned band. The press side of things was no less helpful to the group. My days at the NME were pretty much numbered by the start of 1999, but the editorial support for Coldplay was furiously strong from the outset. As the latest live desk tiger, James Oldham, wanted to extend the paper's relationship with the A&R fraternity, even as I neared the exit. So they got the main picture and some hearty words from a live review of our week-long New Year busting pandemonium event, which presented their inaugural Bull and Gate show on January the 7th, when they played first on the bill, supporting their label mates Tiny 2 and headliners the Peccadillos. A quiet blast, but not quite pandemonium yet. As well as their location and their timing, their attitude was perfect. Everything worked because they just got on with it and never argued, not with us anyway. Their manager was Phil Harvey, ostensibly an equally lovely mate from college, who was so important to the whole story, he is now celebrated as the fifth member of the band. Their live agent, meanwhile, was Steve Strange, an up-and-coming Irishman who could drink for the whole band, fifth member included, and often did. There was no arrogance, no pretense, no bollocking about. We would ask them to do grubby indie stuff, and for the most part, they would do the grubby indie stuff we asked them to do without a tedious amount of deliberating. For all that they were patently not the new Idlewild, or never, by many stretches of the imagination, an indie band, by the time they started doing full interviews, Chris would happily enthuse about his love for Genesis. There was an authenticity about the band, not to mention a can-do attitude that frankly shamed loads of their supposedly cooler peers loafing their way around the circuit. Crucially, no band in the history of Fierce Panda has asked Fierce Panda more questions about how the industry works and how they could make that industry work for them. I spent one such evening in the company of Chris Martin in the Camden Eye, the weird Dairy Lee triangle-shaped pub opposite the Tube and the World's End. In between questions about the workings of the musical industry, I went to the bar for some refreshments. When I asked the barman for a pint of lager and a bitter lemon with ice, he glowered suspiciously, firstly at me, and then at my happy-faced, curly-haired companion in the corner. Bitter lemon? This was fucking Camden. However, realising that my companion decidedly didn't look like the sort of character who'd stash half a quart of Smirnoff down his pants to mix with the baby blue Schweppes, the barman nodded his satisfaction. You can say many things about Chris Martin, but in those early Coldplaying days, you could never say he wasn't a cheap date. Oddly enough, a few years later, if that same barman had craned his neck out of the front window of the Eye and really stretched to look up Camden Parkway on a particular dank evening, he might well have spotted an impressively less gauche Chris Martin standing on a drizzly pavement, talking to a still very much gauche Panda boy. Next to him, he had a lady called Gwyneth Paltrow. "This is the man who made us," beamed Chris by way of introduction. Gwyneth smiled that almost imperceptible Mona Lisa smile that suggested I was the 17th person she'd been introduced to in that manner that afternoon, and the 16th was quite possibly the sweeper sweeping up outside the Jazz Cafe a few drizzly yards up the road. There was a record, recorded in February 99. The Brothers and Sisters EP consisted of 2 tracks 7-inch, Brothers and Sisters and Easy to Please, and an extra track on the CD called Only Superstition. Unlike so many previous singles, we didn't get a very favourite live track like Bigger, Stronger or Shiver. We actually got an A-side that wouldn't be re-recorded and reissued by a bigger label 12 months later, although a version of Brothers and Sisters was to appear on the B-side of Trouble. Like so many previous Panda singles, it cost £450 to record, this time in Station Studios in Southgate. It was released on April the 26th, and it soared to number 92 in the charts. Chris Martin was beyond excited. There was one other key difference to previous Panda singles. This time around, we had the backing of Mushroom, which meant that for the very first time in our tiny, mousy musical tale, we had the resources to try to sign the Coldplay band long-term, which we very much did. We put on their key gigs, we released their pivotal single, we enjoyed answering their questions and endured the shame of buying them baby blue bottles of bitter lemon. In short, we felt as though we were an integral part of a storyline that, like Mr. Creosote at an all-you-can-eat Chinese buffet, was expanding by the minute. But did I genuinely feel we stood a chance? It was a new experience, that was for sure. Luckily we were in cahoots with the people who signed Ash and Garbage and Muse, experts who had hoisted Peter Andre's six-pack into the topmost of the top tens. But rather than pool our resources with Corder's crew, we seemed to go for an accidental, tactical pincer approach to signing Coldplay, one that saw Mushroom do their grown-up A&R thing, and saw Fierce Panda do its thing that wasn't quite puerile or purist, but did, inevitably, involve the pub. In short, one day I wrote a gauche, geeky, nerdy list of reasons Coldplay should, and indeed needed, to sign to Fierce Panda. We'd grow right up from the grassroots upwards and make it massively big together, the dream band on the dreamy label, that kind of thing. Took it to backstreet rehearsal studios under the arches of the Holloway Road Railway Bridge. Took them to the bar with the ever-changing name, the one by Holloway Road Tube Station. Gave them my fine spiel and handed over my geeky, nerdy list of reasons. I think there are 8 of them, and they were on orange paper. We could do no more. Some anxious time later, I got a call in the top-secret Fierce Panda office on Orford Road in Walthamstow Village. It was Chris Martin on the line. "Hi, Simon," said he. "Are you around? We'd like to take you Panda boys for a drink." "Sure thing," I said. "Where are you?" "Oh, we're in Hammersmith. We're coming over now." Hammersmith, eh? Home to Parlophone Records. Didn't take a stout Belgian detective to work out that they'd done the deal, and they'd done the deal with someone who very much wasn't Fierce Panda. And so they drove across London from the wayward west to the elusive east, and the 4 of Coldplay, including the singer who didn't drink, took us to the village pub in Walthamstow Village to buy us a drink and thank us in their slightly nerdy, gauche kind of way for everything we'd done. It actually hurt like hell But beneath our enigmatic Gwyneth Paltrow-esque smiles, the sentiment was very much appreciated, as was the free lager. The relationship didn't end there and then either. Funny thing was, early on, Coldplay struggled to get any tours. The live agent, Steve Strange, who also looked after Bellatrix and Seafood, who also wanted to go on the road, was once so flummoxed he came up with what he considered to be a bonzer idea, whereby Seafood, Bellatrix and Coldplay would go on tour together, killing 3 panda chickens with 1 foxy fox. In the end, once I'd stopped choking on my Yorkshire tea and carefully closed the office coupe, Bellatrix and Coldplay went out as co-headliners, starting a theme whereby every band Coldplay played with would be totally fucked forever. To wit, were Coldplay really as nice as we thought? They subsequently co-headlined a UK tour with Welsh scrappers Terrace. When it came to London on April the 7th, 2000, a full year on from the Bull and Great, the London show was at ULU, pretty much Coldplay's home university venue. Yet Terrace headlined the night. Can you guess what happened next, kids? Coldplay played to 800 joyous mates singing along, about 700 of whom promptly left after their set, leaving Terrace to rage at a near-empty room. Accident or cunning? Interestingly, this show was the first time I heard a new song called Yellow. That'll never be a single, thought I, snarkily. Chris can't even hit the high notes live. So the next time we crossed paths, Yellow had rocketed up to number 4 in the pop-tastic chartings, much to the delighted surprise of everyone, including, it seems, their astonished record company. Down in the Panda boondocks, there was very little delight. Chuffed as we were for the Coldplay band and their teamsters, on a personal level, it was a gruesomely painful blow to my so-called professional pride to miss out on something so thrilling unfolding in front of my very bloodshot eyes. So painful, in fact, that for one day I decided to freeze Coldplay out of my life. No listening to the radio, no reading of the press, no watching of the television. It was a nice day. Walked from the Holloway House up to Finsbury Park Tube. Traffic was its usual wild self, i.e. a riot of colour gridlocked around the old Rainbow venue. Windows were wound down. Time was unwinding in the North London haze. And then, from the front seat of a white van, I heard a horribly familiar sound. The sound of white van man whistling. The man in the white van whistling the refrain from Yellow. You can hum, but you can't hide. Funny thing is, I was never especially annoyed by Coldplay signing to Parlophone. Back in 1999, I would have signed to Parlophone. He had such a great roster and reputation. But it was quite the odd 6 months, and apparently it could have been even odder, as it seems in spite of my nerdy, needy list of reasons why they should sign to Fierce Panda, we were the only 2 labels left in the chase. Whenever I now see Corder Marshall, he shakes his head and sighs, we should have doubled our offer for Coldplay. And all the way from 1999, right up until the last time I saw him, alive and very much kicking in the Islington in 2019, their live agent Steve Strange would say in his gently bellowing barfly manner, "Simon, you have no idea how close Coldplay were to signing to Fierce Panda."